good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Yeah, many ways. Welcome back to Passionate World Talk Radio Network, a wholly owned subsidiary of Global Media Network LLC, to educate, to enlighten, and also entertain. And this morning we are doing a shout out for a series of books that Vicki Esther Chang has published and has gotten out that, listen up, folks, will help you achieve your success in your career and also just making yourself understood by whoever is listening to you and paying attention. Good morning, Vicki.
Hi, Lillian. Thank you for coming back. Lillian, myself, Vicky Asher, we would like to congratulate everyone for making through 2024 to 2025. I mean, this is the third or the second week of the year. Let's start off with a great big bang. Our books. The launch today, we're talking about gold nuggets for entrepreneurs. Um, Communications is your superpower, and that is writing on the success of the book. Up here, you could see that gold nuggets for digital strategies, podcast for business, and you. Just even before we start for this 20-minute shout out, Lillian, I'm here, Singapore. It is 10:34 p.m. In beautiful, sunny, tropical island state of Singapore. But I also like to make it heard to the universe that my blessings and my heart goes out to those evacuating from the California forest fires at the U.S. You know what? Everything that happens in one part of the earth, the other part of the earth empathize with it. So, Lillian Cartwell, my heart goes out to you and your fellow countrymen right there. But we are always welcoming to Singapore. Hi, evacuate to Singapore. Whether you're evacuate from the forest fires or evacuating from your new president, you're always welcome to come to Singapore. Quickly, about the latest book, Lillian. What a beautiful book we have. The three of us have written. I'd like to make a shout out to Franchere Gardner, one of our writers for Gold Nuggets for Entrepreneurs Communications is your superpower. Look at the link. I think Lillian has it in the website already, and you can find it online if you Google Gold Nuggets for Entrepreneurs. It will pop up. Really, Lillian, again, we want to say that we're doing this not for profit. I mean, we would like to make profit, but we also would like to know that people are undergoing tremendous change now, tremendous I should say, it's a vicarious situation. You don't know which way the world is going. You don't know whether the economy is going up or going down or sustaining, or you don't know if the latest news have just come up. Lillian, if you look at the news just come up from the US, the fire of California is really spreading towards the nuclear weapons in the US, where they house all the nuclear ammunition. So you never know that is going to happen or not. Let's pray that's not going to happen. The fire that goes to the nuclear ammunition. But life goes on. My heart goes out to the people. So the book, back to the book, it's a great effort from Lillian, Franchere Gardner, and myself, and also GDM Metropolis Education, Publication, and Production is the sponsor for the book. A lot of people are behind the book to sponsor it in kind, in effort, in labor, in time, and also in opportunity cost to get this book out. Like what Lillian has said, education is the best form of investment for you and your lives and your professional lives and career and the future. You've got to invest in yourself, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody else is going to invest in you. I mean, The teachers already have invested in you when you were young. Your mothers have invested in you. It is your time to take ownership of your life. Communications is your superpower, and that is the truth. And I'd like to talk about the chapter that Francia Gardner has contributed. Francia is actually the podcaster for her international podcast News You Can Use, which you can go onto Spotify. And she also is the CEO of her networking PR company. She contributed two really valuable chapters on networking. Lillian, a lot of times, a lot of us will go into a room alone, not knowing anyone. We're all dressed up, hoping that someone approached to us to talk. And likewise, everyone else is thinking the same. I hope someone will actually approach me. When we go to a room, and I would like to say, Lillian, it gets harder as the years go by. I mean, it gets easier when you were younger, right? Because you had no pre kind of conception of the world. But as you get more professional, more senior in your professional ladder, you feel that people should approach you. You feel more like you shouldn't be the one to be reaching out to others the more senior you get, because you feel that people should be coming to you. So I think a lot of us make that kind of it's not a mistake, but that kind of behavior and attitude, like, what should I do when I go into a room alone and everyone is a professional and everyone is thinking, I'm not going to make that first move, right? Francia Gardner has actually written two chapters as a contributing co-author for our book, Lillian, that what you should do when you go into a room full of professionals for networking. Number one, what's your objective? How should you dress? How should you hold out your card? What should you say, and what is your takeaway? What's the first thing you should talk about? I think these are some of the nuances that she has made, like what's your fear when you go into a room full of people. You remember, we're not J-Lo, we're not Jennifer Lopez, where we've got someone as our escort, as our guardian, or as a manager to be the one to introduce another person to us. When we go into a room, a lot of times we are alone. So how do you break that ice, especially when you are a woman? So that's a little bit of a teaser from Francia Gardner, and that's a good teaser, right, Lillian, for our book. We relate to that. And for my chapter, I talk about business pitch. I've been a business mentor for startups for years, and I've been coaching and mentoring undergraduates and higher educational students in higher education institutes about how to raise funds, how to make your pitch in front of the Shark Tanks. And then we're talking about angel investors. We're talking about making your pitch for funds or for free mentorship, or just making your pitch for your products or your services to a group of people in a room. What should you do? What should you say? And that's a chapter from myself. I think that's invaluable. And that's also the introduction to my book in 2025 that I'm working on. And that's Gold Nuggets for Entrepreneurs, Startups, and You. So we're talking about startups, and I'm talking about writing business plans and making a pitch as a startup, and entry and commercializing your product and services in the market. How do you enter into a market? How do you write your business plan? How do you make your pitch to investors? How do you manage stakeholder relationships? Now that's something that's going to come up 2025, Gold Nuggets for entrepreneurs, startups, and business plan. So that's what in this book, communications as is your superpower. And you've got to make that pitch because you've got to make that first impression. A lot of times, Lillian, we are only given one chance, and one chance just happened first time. First time means there's no second time. You don't make a second first impression. I'm sorry to say, you've only got one chance for your first impression. And what you say the first 30 seconds make a difference. And whether someone wants to remember you, someone wants to cancel you, someone wants to stay with you and stick with you, very often it's that first 30 seconds. And of course, for a business, it's like an elevated pitch. You make your 2 minute pitch in 2 minutes and talk about why people should believe in you, believe in your business, and believe in your product and service. And that's my take in this book. Communications is your superpower. Hopefully, we'll come up with book 2. Communications is your superpower, book 2, headed by Lillian and myself. Hopefully, that will come up in 2025. So that's book 1 in Amazon. And book 1 is only $7.99 US. And the money, 90% of it goes to Amazon to pay for the use of their platform. It doesn't go to the 3 of us. And even if it goes to the 3 of us, $1, it just means 30 cents. So I don't think we want that 30 cents. I would just want to keep it for, I don't know, we'll just keep it with Amazon. So that's the value of the paperback, and you can get it free if you subscribe to Amazon Prime, and that's our contribution to humanity and education, Lillian. So why don't you talk about your contribution to the book, Lillian? Take it away, Lillian.
When Vicky asked me to write about communication, well, that's my forte. I do run and own an internet talk radio station. And unlike other radio stations, you have to talk, you have to share information. And it's not so much your personality that conveys your thoughts, although that does help. But if the content isn't solid or the content is not going to be helpful to the listeners, then, well, I tell people to go into the garden, dig a hole, and throw themselves in. Because the 21st century is very different from the 20th century. In the 20th century, you had the advent of the computer finally coming through. But in the 21st century, the computer has been improved upon with the introduction of artificial intelligence. And whether you like it or not, want it or not, I've had it on good authority from my 11-year-old that if you are not familiar with using AI to help you with your work at school, you will not receive your high school diploma. When my son graduated from high school in the 90s, he had to be proficient in Excel, in Word, and about 2 other types of software. Otherwise, he would not receive his high school diploma because they considered the computer as part of that knowledge that you needed to have in order to advance to college. And in college, yes, indeed, folks, we had to buy him a tower, we had to buy him a screen, a printer, a scanner, and we had to buy a Mac because he was in graphic illustration. So if all of a sudden the price went from a $499 to $2,000 for a Mac because they're reliable, among other things. No offense, PC, but it just happens to be true. Anyway, so that's how we invested in his education. Now his 2 daughters are going off to college next year to both really good schools. And guess what do they ask? Are you familiar with AI and can you use it with your college courses? And of course, the girls are illiterate on that. My grandson received a 3D printer for Christmas. He's sharing it with Dad. And I got to tell you that 3D printer doesn't pale in comparison with AI. My grandson can now make his own Legos from software that he can pick up for $1 on the half shell. So, folks, you've got to learn how to become involved with the incoming technology, because if you don't, you'll suffer the fate of everybody else beneath the baby boomer generation. There are many things that you can say about us, good, bad, and indifferent, but we do know how to, quote, seize the day, unquote. And while some women are not, the majority of the boomers are computer literate and digital literate, because the types of jobs they obtained after World War II all involved technology, engineering, math, science. In case nobody told you, the reason why our space program was so accelerated was because all the Nazi scientists who had that technology came over to our side. That's why we won the space race, in case you're interested. And since then, the United States has made sure that our kids get the necessary tools that they need in order to be successful. And yet the Chinese and the Indians are catching up. And they will surpass us because the generations beneath the baby boomer wants it handed to them on a silver platter. And it doesn't work that way. To become successful in today's world, you have to learn how to communicate. You have to learn to take risks. And more important, you have to know how to take advantage of the technology that is out there and then pair it off with whatever you're trying to accomplish. Because if you don't, you'll be left behind. You cannot afford to be an ostrich and put your head in the sand. If my 11-year-old grandson can master a 3D printer, then you can master it too. And I was impressed is not the right word. I was blown off my feet when I saw that printer make a 3D object on the pad that you have to use. And there are special pads to go with the software. I'll get a picture of it and bring it in next time so you can see what it looks like. It looks like the guillotine, except it's not. It doesn't chop off anybody's heads. And did you know why they invented the guillotine? It was new technology. And the person, Mr. Guillotine himself, wanted to create a machine that would make death less painful. And that was the new technology for the French Revolution and for the world. So don't poo-poo it, because even back in ancient Greece, they built machines with the materials they had available to them, because they're finding them in the sea from all the ships that they're finding down in the sea. So technology goes forward whether you're with it or not. And you need to get with it.
And
So
Lillian,
you need to pick up the books to tell you how to go about doing it.
Yeah, so Lillian, the book, Golden Nuggets for Entrepreneurs, communications is your superpower. Everyone should pick it up. I mean, education is the cheapest form of investment for yourself. Read. I mean, we took months to get it out, and you can get it for $7.99 US dollars from where you are. Lillian, another shout out before we go. We have a year-long mentorship program that is rolled out particularly for this part of the world, Singapore, but also open to the rest of the world. Lillian, I would like to talk about it for like a minute if you're
Certainly,
fine.
go right ahead.
Lillian, I put together a team. Lillian, myself, Ralph Ave, and also Annette Wittenberger. The four of us have got very diverse life experiences and educational background and professional experience. And I think we don't want to take it to our graves, right? I think sharing is one form of giving, Lillian. I don't want to see it as this is something that we want to profit from people, but definitely our time is very valuable. For a small little fee that you're going to pay, you're going to have access to four of us. Really, because there must be skin in the game. It's not charity. But for $18.99, you can join our webinar and then a year-long program that you can have any problems that you can actually reach out to us for our point of view. It could be, for example, Lillian, as easy as I am at my decision of a crossroads of a decision. Should I quit the job or should I continue? Right? Should I say this or not? Should I apologize or not? Should I move on? Right? And leave behind a relationship, whether it's friendship, etc., draw my boundaries, or whether I should give myself another chance, etc. Now, you're faced with questions like this. A lot of times you doubt, maybe I should do this. No, I should do that. No, I should do this. But when you come to someone with that decision ever, someone just needed, you just needed a kind of nudge to tell you, hey, you should go this way. And just be clear about what's in your mind, what you want this way. Sometimes you know it, but you don't want to have the kind of self-doubt. So we are here to hear you out, Lillian. You can be someone who's a young student. You are a young boy or a young girl. You want to date this other boy or other girl. You have a lot of questions. Should I choose A or B? Should I let go of the friendship or should I let go of a relationship? Should I pursue it? Should I go for a date or should I be making the payment? I mean, these are questions in your mind, right? And these are questions that you feel maybe you don't want to ask your friends. Maybe you don't want to ask your parent or your teacher. You want someone who's not so close to you because they're independent from your life. They give you independent responses. They've got no vested interest whichever way. So I think for me, I would like to have that as a young person. Now, as someone who's also pursuing a career or pursuing something that's in your family life, or making a transition in your family life, your relationship, making a transition from one career to another, making a midlife transition, you have a lot of questions. There aren't many of us without any questions in our minds when we go to sleep. So we are open to you. This is a year-long program of mentorship or even like a friendship. That we have already rolled out since December, 30th of December, but we are continuing to roll out. Look up for that in eventbrite.com and eventbrite.sg. There are four of us. You can choose whom you feel comfortable that you want to speak to. Hey, Lillian, there's a lot of women with self-doubt. They're going to ask you like, Lillian, how do I survive this? And Lillian's going to say, hey, life goes on. Lillian, what if someone comes to you and say, how do I survive this, Lillian?
Well, I think a lot depends. I mean, people look at me and they say, "How did you manage?" And I said, "Well, develop a sense of humor.
Mm.
That's your first trick. Develop a sense of humor. And your second is to be honest with
Oh,
yourself.
wow.
And when you accomplish that, then you're in a position where you can take a better look around and decide, listen up, folks, whether it's for you. So, in other words, A, you're giving yourself permission to do something, but B, you recognize that there are going to be consequences for everything that you do, that nothing comes without, I call it a sacrifice or an exchange. Something,
Has
someone
got to give.
has to pay. And that's why you A, have a sense of humor about it, B, you're being honest with yourself, and C, you recognize the consequences of these acts. So, in other words, you have to be accountable and you have to be responsible. And those are two words that scare the living daylight out of people because all of a sudden they're no longer part of the herd. They're becoming maybe a leader. And that's a scary thought. Now, if you're a parent or you're taking care of your parents, that's not a big deal because you've already been thrust, whether you want to or not, into that position. But if it's just you, yourself, and I, and you don't have any responsibility except getting up, going to work, and coming home, then this becomes the enemy.
Mm.
And
You
what you
know,
have to recognize with the books that Vicki has published and put out is that the only way you're going to learn is to put it into practice. And this group will give you your parental safety net. So while you're learning what you need in order to become successful, you have Vicki and I and all the other professionals backing you up, catching you if you fail, and more importantly, we can help you navigate and negotiate should that be called for. Listen up, kids. You don't usually get an opportunity like this, a
of
safety
course.
net in the real world while working and trying to make a difference because everybody wants to leave that ripple behind. So please don't tell me you don't because you want to be remembered, right? It's just not kings and queens. You want to be remembered as being here and done something about it.
Yeah.
You're just not merely flotsam that's drifting in and out of the shoreline with the tide.
Yeah, so Lillian, we've got the books out. We've got a year-long program, and ladies and gentlemen, you can find it on Lillian Cutwell's website, Passionate World Talk Radio, and also myself. Go to the Platinum Platform Facebook group where I will be. Um, go there. Or you can just go to Google and Google my name. You've got pages and pages of me, and you know where to find me because Google is the digital universe. And also, you can find me on X.com, and that's the X platform where I will be communicating with you. You can find me there on X and also on Facebook, and of course, in my YouTube channel. Lillian, thank you so much for your participation. This is something that we're giving back to the world. we're giving back to humanity. The work that we do is not going to go to zero. It will be our legacy. And likewise for you, we are here to catch you. The book, again, it's nonprofit, and also the year-long mentorship as a safety net for you. It's also non-profit. And Lillian, I've already gotten inquiries from graduates that they like to find out more about our program, which I will come back to you. And ladies and gentlemen, please come on to email to Lillian, or go to my Facebook group, the Platinum Platform, or email to me at Vicky Chang at gdmeducation.com. That's where you can find us. We'll release more information about the year-long mentorship. Thank you. Over to you to wrap up, Lillian.
Thank you very much for listening to our shout out this morning. And like most shout outs, if you want to see us all over again, and who doesn't, you can go over to passionateworldtalkradio.com and scroll down where it says State of Current Affairs. Click on it, go to the webpage, click on Google, and voila, you're inside the belly of YouTube. And we are there again, plus our previous programs for State of Current Affairs and our communication program. You don't want to miss that. And this and other interviews I've done with Vicky. So come on down, as they say. Have a great day, and we'll see you soon.